In my last video, I was simply pointing out that upon Christ's first resurrection, there was evidence left behind showing his resurrection. The burial stone was rolled away from the door. His burial cloths were folded and put up neatly. His body was gone. The centurion guards were of such a nature that these men were proficient with 5 or plus weapons, were experts, and could stake themselves in one spot in the ground and defend that spot very effectively. They were professionals. They stated they did not go to sleep. That body vanished on its own. When the angel moved the slab aside, he was doing that as saying, Jesus is no longer here. These stones are extremely heavy. And the simple point I was trying to make, I was saying if that's the case, he left behind evidence for people to see with their own eyes that at the resurrection rapture, the same thing will happen. The ground, 8 feet of dirt, is a physical barrier to being resurrected and raptured. It will be removed so that the remains, the one molecule of yourself remains there, can be transformed and changed into incorruptible from corruptible, and then taken to heaven. I simply pointed out there is no reason to make this overly complicated. I'm saying evidence was presented upon Jesus' resurrection. Evidence will be presented upon the rapture happening. Go to the graveyards. That's why I'm telling the non-believers. Go there and see the evidence with your own eyes. You're not going to see undisturbed ground in a graveyard filled with Christians. You're going to find a spot where they have been removed. There's no reason to be overly analytical about this. Evidence will be left behind. Now the human soul, the Apostle Paul right now, his soul and spirit in heaven. His body is still on earth. There's some singular molecule that we can't trace or find where he's buried that God is going to change from incorruptible to corruptible. The Apostle Paul, in other words, does not have a physical body that we're waiting for in heaven. He has to come back, get that new body, and then go back to heaven in the new body to enjoy his promise of the resurrection. He doesn't have the new body yet. And there's no reason to be overly analytical about this. That's all I'm saying. There's going to be evidence of the resurrection rapture. The people that are in heaven now do not have bodies, do not have the promised body as by Christ. He said with his own mouth, you will have this body. They don't have it yet. They will have it upon the second stage of the resurrection rapture. This is the harvest. Christ used the harvest patterns of the times of the year and the events in the harvest itself as an example. He is the first fruits. The people take that first fruits away from before the priestly offering. That's what the priests eat. Then they have to wait for the second stage for the field to ripen. That's early ripening fruit, first fruits. Once the field harvest fully ripens, they can harvest it. They harvest it. They leave the 4 corners or edges behind so that the poor have some form of sustenance. They can harvest it. It goes in stages. 1 resurrection rapture, 1 new life, 3 stages. That's what so many people confuse. They think that they just go out there and Christ included, they just harvest the field and it's done. Well, the harvest goes in stages. That's why he's called the first fruits. We're still waiting on that second portion, and we will take part in that, including the dead. They go before us. They get their new bodies. They come back from heaven, get their new bodies, and go back to heaven. It's done. No reason to overanalyze this. All right, bye.